Hi, my name is Roger Ahuja, and I'm going to take a few minutes and talk to you about how to diagnose a printer that's not working properly. So, the first thing we want to do is isolate where the problem is, and there's three things we want to look at. One is the computer, one is the connection, and one is the printer itself. So the first thing we want to do is make sure the printer itself is working fine. And in order to do that, we want to disconnect the printer from the computer. And once it's disconnected, try to run some sort of a self-test on it. If it's an all-in-one unit, the easiest thing to do is make a photocopy. If that works, then problem solved. If it's not an all-in-one unit, you can do a Google search for how to print a self-test test for an HP 4100, which is what I have. And as you can see, it gives us some instructions right here. Please don't download anything in this process of searching, because if you end up downloading, you shouldn't have to download anything to find out how to do a self-test. That's just information, and if a website is asking you to download something, there's a good chance you're going to get some malware or something with it. So please don't download anything. Okay, so continuing on, let's assume that the printer self-tests fine, so we know the printer is working fine. The next thing to look at is a connection. We want to find out if that connection is good or not. If it's a USB printer, my suggestion would be to shut down the computer, disconnect all the USB devices, turn the computer back on, and then plug in one device at a time into a different USB port. And this will sometimes fix problems with USB ports not being recognized or not working properly. If it's a network printer, we can do a couple of things. First, I'm going to pull up and show you my network printers here. And I have an HP LaserJet 4100 here and a all-in-one HP color LaserJet here. So now if I right-click on this and go to Printer Properties and go to Ports, now this is a network printer, and right here you can see an IP address. And I can go to right-click on the start bar here, or start button here, and go to command prompt. And then I can ping that IP address. And I'm going to put a -T at the end, and that's going to do a continuous ping until I decide to cancel it. What I'm looking for here is, am I getting a consistent reply from the printer? Because if the connection's bad, you might get a request timed out along the way. I'm just going to unplug my network cable and show you. I get a general failure. But similarly, you would get some kind of an error message, either request timed out, can't reach it, blah, blah, blah. Destination host unreachable, kind of like that. So you would get different error messages if the connection's not solid. Now, if your printer uses a host name, like this printer here, with this NPIC2356D, that's a host name. We can actually just ping that host name, NPIC2356D, and again I'm going to put a -T there, and you're going to get a reply back. Now you're going to get it, it's not using an IP address, it's so you're going to get a different thing here than the IP address. We're looking to see if there's any problems in the communication here. And that's how you check the connection. Okay, so if the printer itself is fine and the connection is fine, then obviously the problem's on your computer. So at this point, if you haven't already done so, the first thing really is to restart the computer. I know it sounds obvious, but the number of times that's fixed a problem, well, it's a lot. If you've restarted your computer and you're still having a problem, we can look at Device Manager. We're going to right-click here on the Start button and go to Device Manager. And what you're looking for here is any yellow exclamations like this, or any red X's that might give you a clue that there's something wrong with the printer software. And if there is something with the printer software, then you could try uninstalling and reinstalling the printer software. Again, be very careful when downloading anything off the internet. The other thing we can do is look at the print spooler service and make sure that's working. You can right-click on the Start button, go to Run, and type in services.msc, and hit OK. And that'll bring up all the services that are running, and we're going to scroll down and look at the print spooler and make sure that this is running. If this is not running, then you can right click on it and go to properties, and this should be, startup type should be set to automatic, and you can start it here. And if you get any error messages with it starting, then at least you know you have a clue as to what's going on. The last thing to try is to clear the print spooler itself. I've sent a print job here which is not printing because it's I've actually disconnected the printer, so it can't print. But if we go to browse for folders, we'll go to the C drive and then go to the Windows folder and then go to the System 32 folder and then spool. Let's see, there it is. And then printers, and here's any active, this shows any active print jobs, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And actually, in order to delete this, you have to stop the print spooler service. So if I try to delete this now, it's going to give me an error message. So I'm going to go here back to services.msc, which is still there, and there's that error that it couldn't print that because it's disconnected. And we'll go back to the print spooler service. I'm going to stop it and then go back here, and now I can delete it, and that gets rid of any active print jobs. And then I obviously want to restart the service. This is in case there's something wrong with the print job itself. And the next if there's anything wrong with a print job, instead of going back and reprinting the same thing, I would suggest print something from Notepad. Just a simple, this is a test. Oops, I guess I got all caps like that. This is a test. And then just go to File, Print, and obviously print it to your printer. And see if that does it. And if none of those things fix it, then it's probably time to seek some professional help. And that's it.